Where's the gavel? All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Brentwood. My name is Jennifer Bourne. I am your fearless leader this year. Before we go into the inspirational message and the four-way test, I want to read you a couple things that were brought to us today. The first one, if you guys remember Leon Partain, he is a member of our club and he passed away. We did send our family of Rotary, sent some, I'm going to read this to you. It says, thank you to the members of Rotary Club. Thank you for honoring Leon with a gift to the missions fund at our church. Our family is grateful for your thoughtfulness. Leon loved being a part of Rotary, Judy Partain. So, and then the other thing I want to read you, if you were here a couple weeks ago, we did the Community Service Award for Jim Redd, who is one of the founders of our city. And we had a letter today from him. It says, a sincere thank you for the Distinguished Community Service Award. The award is meaningful because it is given by an outstanding community and civic organization, the Rotary Club of Brentwood. Your recognition of my contributions to the city and community are so very much appreciated. It is a unique opportunity of a lifetime to be a part of establishing Brentwood as a city, and it has become a city of renowned notability. I'm honored to share the award to all of the people who also contributed their time and efforts to make Brentwood a desired place to live and raise a family. A heartfelt thank you, Jim Redd. So good thing. All right, then we'll go into business. Our inspirational message will be led today by Claudia Buchanan and our pledge and four-way test by Steve Huff. Claudia, it's your last day, right? It is. All right, it's her last day, so make sure you say goodbye.
I can't say that up here, sorry. But good afternoon. As we gather today, we pause for a moment to shift from the busyness of our schedules into a shared purpose. Rotary brings together people from different professions and experiences, beliefs, and backgrounds. Yet we're united by a common desire to make our communities and our world a little better than we found them. In a time when so much can divide people, service has a unique way of connecting us. Acts of kindness, generosity, and leadership remind us that meaningful change rarely begins with grand gestures, but more often it starts with ordinary people choosing to show up and listen and work together and care about something larger than themselves. Each person in this room has the ability to encourage hope, create opportunity, and strengthen the lives of others. That is a spirit of Rotary, a service above self, not simply as a motto, but a daily practice. So as we begin today's meeting, may we be present with one another, open to new ideas, grateful for the chance to serve, and mindful that even small efforts done faithfully can have a lasting impact. So let us pray. We give thanks for this gathering, for the friendships around these tables, and for the opportunity to serve our community together. Grant us wisdom in our conversations, humility in our leadership, and compassion in our actions. Help us to use our talents and resources not only for personal success, but for the good of others. And bless those in our community who are struggling, those who are lonely, discouraged, or in need of hope. May our work as Rotarians bring encouragement where there is hardship and unity where there is division. As we share this meal and this time together, renew in us a spirit of service, gratitude, and goodwill. Amen. And this is not goodbye. This is, I'll see you in a little while.
Now for the pledge to the flag. and the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, second, third, and fourth.
Okay. Next up is our introduction of guest. She is our current president-elect, and our future president, Jennifer Ruane, is going to be introducing our guest.
Happy Friday, everyone. Woo! Yeah. Happy Friday, everyone. We do have several guests in the house. I'll start with Edward Wingate. Where's Edward? There he is. He found us online, and he is with Triple Net Absolute here in Brentwood. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Next, we have Linda Payne. There, yeah, over here. She's almost a member, I hear. Welcome. We're glad to have you and look forward to the officialness of all that.
Yeah.
Derrick Solomon is our speaker today, so he'll get a proper introduction here in a few minutes. And Molly Patton, which hopefully will be joining us regularly as Claudia phases out. Did I get everybody? Welcome.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Okay, next, I want to start this portion of our meeting with sharing something with you that happened last week, but also recognizing this individual. I have not prepared what I'm going to say, so if it comes out wrong, it won't, actually. If you know her, you love her. If you have any Rotary questions, you know who to go to in this club. It is the same in the district level. And we had our district conference back in Kentucky just last weekend. We left straight from here and went there. And I want to share with you that Susie Lindsay, our member, our past president, if you've been a president of this club, she has been a huge help and confidant in that role. She won Rotarian of the Year and was recognized on the district level. And I do think she wore that shirt also, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for making this club my home for so many years. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. I could not think of anybody more deserving of that award, not only on a club level, but on a district level. So congratulations, Susie. I'll also share with you at the district, we also were recognized for international service. So thank you, Ted and his committee. Yes. For all the things that we're doing with vocational support, with Interact, the scholarships, all the things that we're doing with the youth here in our community. So thank you, Sheila and Jay, being kicked off this year. Anybody can be part of that. And then we also got Club of the Year. So crazy. And Jennifer said it beforehand. Our club does so many things. We could have probably won all the awards, but you got to be fair to all concerned, right? And let the others win some stuff. But we're doing such a great job. We are continuing to every single year. So for all of you, good job. Thank you for what you're doing. And let's just keep getting better, right? As a club. Next, we're going to move into our member moments. And I haven't talked to Gil, so I hope he's ready for it. Where is he? There you are. We're going to learn. Gil is one of our newest members, but not new to our community. And we're going to learn a little bit about him. You have 3 minutes. And if you don't know Kimberly, my timer's going to go off. So.
Yeah, I watched that a couple of weeks ago, so I'll be brief. Hi, I'm Gil Hutchinson. I joined in October of last year. I had promised Tom after I retired that I would make it a point to join it, and I've really enjoyed it so far. The amount of service and activities this club does is really interesting to me. And also, I'm amazed at how much volunteerism is. In terms of my background, I grew up in Central Florida in a town called Auburndale. It's near Winter Haven, if you remember Cypress Gardens. Now it's Legoland, but it's a small community. Later on, I went to Tulane University. Thought I'd be a lawyer, but my LSAT scores for those lawyers in the office wasn't very good. So I said, what am I going to do? So I set out for 2 years and worked for my parents. They have a gas plant, a propane gas plant. So I delivered gas and painted in the summers. And then I decided I better do something constructive. So I decided to apply for MBA school, and I got accepted at Florida State. And Tom, I think you went to Florida State. Is that correct? Yeah.
Coincidentally.
Yes. Okay. But I was there, I was able to work with the House Appropriations Committee as a budget analyst. So I worked part-time and went to school part-time, but eventually graduated. And I went to Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida. And so my career has spanned 43 years of healthcare. After Blue Cross, I had stints with the Voluntary Hospitals of America in Dallas, then came back and worked Orlando Regional for 3 years, and then helped form a physician management company that later transferred me up here. So my wife, Annette, and my two children, Scott and Kelsey, we moved up here in 1999. So we've been here, what's that, 23 years, 26, and loved it. In fact, when I was first here, I was amazed at the greenery. You'd see turkeys walking around, deer. I was just amazed coming from where I was from, the amount of green space that was here. And so that kind of inspired me to become more involved in the community. I've been very active since 2004 with the Citizens for Brentwood Green Space. We're a 501c3 that's helped raise about $315,000 for the city parklands. They've used it at Smith Park and most recently Windy Hill, but it's a volunteer group and our mission is to try to expand green space and trail activity in the city of Brentwood. So I've really been involved with that, but I've also tried to give back to my community. I've been on the Tree Board, Historic Commission, and the Environmental Advisory Commission. So I've been on 3 city boards. I went through Leadership Brentwood, became active with the Citizens Police Academy and Fire Academy. So I've done most of what the community offers in terms of activities. So right now, my goal as a retiree is to travel. We've been able to travel, fortunately. I've been to 40 different countries, and we try to make it a point to go a couple times a year somewhere. So I'm active in traveling. I practice Krav Maga, which is like a martial art. I do that 3 times a week. So I'm trying to stay physically fit at my age, but so far so good. I did have hip surgery last year and going through PT right now. So you know what that's about. But anyway, that's a little bit about myself, and I hope the buzzer isn't going to go. Right. Thank you very much.
So he did all this service in the community and now we get him. So thank you for joining our club, Gil. Couple announcements. I just want to share quickly so we can get to our speaker. This week, we had a big week in the golf tournament. They raised $7,100 this week. So keep coming, keep bringing in some golf tournament sponsorships. We do have a service project tomorrow. We've got 2. So pick it. One Jen is doing a service project in Antioch, I believe. And then Grace Works with our own John Thompson here is doing a service project at Fairview Middle tomorrow. Sybil, would you like to come? Where is Sybil? Sorry, Reddish put food in her mouth. Would you like to come up and tell them all the fun stuff that's happening in June in our club? I've got them right here if you need them. Okay, perfect.
3 things come to mind. June is busy. June 12th, we have our annual scholarship luncheon, and that's when we announce our scholarship recipients for 2026, and then we invite back the students that are still in the cycle of receiving scholarships and get updates from them. So it's a really fun luncheon. That's on the 12th. The next day, the 13th, we have our last social for Jennifer's year. And then she and her husband will be hosting a shrimp boil. So I hope y'all come for that because I know you're making a lot of effort to have that be really special. Then last, not least, is our annual installation dinner, and that'll be June 25th at the Cool Springs Marriott. And of course, we'll be installing our new president, Jennifer Wing. So I'm sure you got all those on your calendar, but please keep it in mind. June will be busy, but it'll be a fun month. Thanks.
Just keep an eye on reflections. I'll make sure everything's every single weekend reflections for you guys. Okay, last, before we move on to Happy Bucks, we are not meeting next Friday. So don't come. It is Memorial Day weekend, so we're going to give you Friday and let you go have a great longer holiday weekend. So please don't come next Friday. We will be coming back the following Friday, and we are having the CEO of Life Point Hospital speak. So hope you guys can be here on the 29th. And the next up is Scott Robinson with Happy Bucks. Who's happy?
Happy Friday. And also that was awesome to hear that we made Club of the Year. It kind of glossed over on that. So who's happy for Friday? All right.
I have my own microphone, Scott. Thank you. On Tuesday evening, I was able to go over to Franklin Lanes and saw this group there, our extended Rotary family. They had a big time. So if you're interested in bowling, let me know. We'll see what we can do about this summer and then potentially about the fall.
All right. We have anybody else? Oh,
Well, I'm about 1 year down and 3 more to go. My son just finished his freshman year at MTSU, so we're moving him back into the house for the summer. But I'm really proud of him because I know what I did my freshman year. So he was at a 3.9 GPA the end off this year and on the dean's list.
oh, Bob's got a list.
Do have a list, so I put in $10. Okay, first of all, if anybody saw last week's Williamson Herald and you looked at the bottom, all plastered all over it is Brentwood Rotary Club. Congratulations to everybody here, and thanks for getting that in. Susie Lindsay, where are you? We love you. Linus, I'm glad he's here because he has a shoulder that he thought he was going to have surgery on. He just has to do PT, so glad to have you. Larry Kane is not here because he had to go home sick early, but I just want to do a shout out for him. He does more than just say, just ask. He gets here early at 10 o'clock. He herds the cats to get everything together. Then he stays late, at 1:30 and takes him and Layla home. So he does a great work. So he had to go home early today. So the next time you see him, say thanks.
Hey, Susie. Susie, congratulations. I think it's wonderful.
All right. We got any more happy bucks? Going once. Done.
No twice or third. There you go. That's funny. Okay, now we're going to move on to our speaker today. We are thrilled to have Derrick here with us today. Word is he might be able to be a member of our club. He doesn't know it yet, but go talk him into it. Donna Weeks is going to come up and introduce our Derrick to us.
I had to write down what I was going to say for fear I would ramble because I love Derrick so much. I am so excited to introduce Derrick Solomon. Derrick is the Executive Director of Hard Bargain Association, HBA, in Franklin. Hard Bargain Association's mission is to preserve, restore, and transform the 150-year-old African-American neighborhood that is best known as Hard Bargain. HBA hopes to create a more diverse and thriving area by way of attainable housing and community development. This charming little neighborhood sits on the edge of beautiful, historic downtown Franklin, right across the street from Mount Hope Cemetery. I wonder how many of you have ever even heard of the Hard Bargain neighborhood. Anybody besides me? There you go, a few. Derrick is an alumnus of Leadership Franklin, like so many of you are Leadership Brentwood, also Leadership Middle Tennessee. He's a strong supporter of local businesses, including, but not limited to, Black and minority-owned businesses. His love and enthusiasm for our community is obvious as soon as you meet him. In addition to working tirelessly with Hard Bargain Association, and I mean around the clock just about, he's a volunteer with the Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee, Boy Scouts of Middle Tennessee, numerous other organizations locally. If something worthwhile is happening in Williamson County, especially Franklin, you can pretty well expect that Derrick will be involved. On a personal note, maybe I shouldn't share this, but I'm going to, Derrick. On a personal note, Hard Bargain Association has made it possible for my daughter, a widowed Williamson County school teacher, author, and artist, and others like her, to own a home in the community they serve. She's been a proud and involved homeowner in Hard Bargain since May. And so thankful for that, Derrick. I am so proud to introduce my precious new friend, Derrick Solomon of Hard Bargain Association.
I grew up in a very charmed life in Northern Virginia, right outside Washington, D.C. And my dad was a well-connected lawyer there. He took my brother and myself to the March on Washington, where Martin Luther King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. So we both were changed from Northern Virginia prep school kids into people looking for ways to do racial reconciliation. How do we reconcile economically? You need a place to live. Medical care, you need education, but you got to go home to a roof somewhere. So all of those things were a part of why the Hard Bargain Association became so sensitive to me and so real.
The way I ended up meeting Hard Bargain or just living here within the community is by my wife's grandfather, Reverend R.L. Denny Denson, who was the co-founder of Hard Bargain Association.
He and I met under weird circumstances. I'm at Christ Community Church where I was pastoring, and we started trying to do things that would help in the community. So we'd go in and sweep up Hard Bargain or go out and pick the kids up and take them and play games or take them to a ball game. I was putting together this program to pray. And I said, look, let's expand the prayer time. You think Denny Denson over at First Missionary Baptist would come over? A friend of ours said, I'll tell you this, God, he doesn't have a lot of regard for you. And I said, oh my goodness, why? He said, well, you're doing all these things, winning all these kids' affection, but you never once came to me, who's their pastor. Never once asked, what can you do with me? So I got up from the prayer meeting, went over to First Missionary Baptist, and interestingly, Denny was also in a prayer meeting. He sees me walk in the front door. He gets up, gets off his knees, walks up the aisle to me. I said, I'm so sorry. He said, I know who you are. He said, it's okay. We'll figure it out. And he threw his arms around me. And really, he became my best buddy right there, right that moment. We started a thing called the Empty Hands Fellowship, 150 men that met every week, twice a week. That was the basic premise for all of the reconciliation that was going on. So when people said, I grew up in Hard Bargain, but I can't buy a house there. And that just didn't make sense to any of us. And so we worked hard to either build a house that's going to stay there for 100 years or renovate existing property in the Hard Bargain area.
Scott always told us that relationships is the best medicine that God ordains for us to have.
You go in, get involved, turn over the whole job to other people, raise up leadership, but in the end, you just stay. And that staying in and around the neighborhood was really what made it more successful.
Housing development is difficult. This is testament to the fact that it can be done and done incredibly well. But affordable housing has a PR problem. We allow the folks that don't understand what is possible drive the conversation. I have to ask, please stop letting those individuals drive and shape the narrative, because we need more of this, not less. God bless you.
My name is Nola Nash. I am a Williamson County High School English teacher. I'm an author, an artist, and a ghost tour guide here in downtown Franklin. 6 years ago, I was widowed. So when it came time to figure out how to stay here in Williamson County on just my single teacher's income, it was a challenge. A friend of mine introduced me to Derrick Solomon and Hard Bargain and said, Hard Bargain was made for people like you. We had a great conversation. We talked for a while, and I said, I'm a white girl. I don't want to intrude in someone else's history and someone else's story. He said, Nola, we're trying to save the neighborhood, not segregate it. And I thought, that's what I needed to hear.
Affordable housing is almost non-existent anymore. So to partner with Hard Bargain when they're doing so much to make that possible for our law enforcement people, our teachers, we have to think of it that way. These are people working every day, trying to do the best they can do for their families.
What's special about this place for me is that actually I was born here and I'm able to stay here in my neighborhood amongst my family and friends.
The gospel of Christ says, look, if your brother is hungry, feed him. If your brother needs a roof over his head, build a house. But God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And that's for all of us.
The easiest way out of poverty is something with equity that's going to actually accumulate over time. That is through a high-end quality home.
I got to pick a lot of the finishes and things. It wasn't just, this is how it comes, you can change it later. It was, what do you need? What do you want?
Here's the American dream. You got it right in front of you. Let's take on a piece of property and develop it and make sure our families, our grandkids can be around us and be a part of it. It's alive.
This is where I'm going to live. This is where I'm going to die. And then they can take me across the street and bury me at Mount Hope because Hard Bargain is now home.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Brentwood Rotary Club. I am elated to be here. I know a few of you and serve alongside of you on several boards. Again, my name is Derrick L. Solomon. I'm the Executive Director for Hard Bargain Association. And I have the pleasure to be in an honor to be here today to speak before you. A little bit about me. I actually I'm a transplant. I moved here in 2005 due to Hurricane Katrina. My now wife for 20 years told me at the young age of 21 that she think God has something here for me. And I actually submitted and listened. So for all the men here, listen to your wives or future wives. You might save your life. We have one beautiful son, Derrick Solomon, who attends MTSU, as stated earlier, in his freshman year. Very proud of him. But we took full advantage of the benefits in Williamson County. Obviously, the best educational schools. He went to Renaissance High School with Dr. Bass and entered the business and media program there. But more or less about Hard Bargain. Hard Bargain is, again, one of the oldest African-American communities in Franklin, Tennessee history, and not only Franklin, Tennessee, period. It's even older than Orange Mound, but we're very diverse. It's about 80% African-American, 5% white, and then 5% Latino. And then we have a little other, but we're very diverse. It's a unique neighborhood. Everybody know everybody's name. We know each kid on every block. A great community impact story is our fifth home that we ever built with a single mom named Shanita Beach. She had two twin boys named Salatus and Savion. I literally remember those boys when they were 6 years old. They just graduated from Vanderbilt in 2024 with no, yeah, I know, right? Anchor Down. I know some Anchor Downs in here somewhere. With no debt because she was able to take it out of HELOC against the house at that time without any scholarship opportunities and paid for their entire college tuition for all 4 years. Salatis and Savion has now went on to be, one of them is actually working for NASA, and one is actually a Chicago professor in Illinois at Chicago Illinois University as a chemistry professor. So when we talk about generation wealth and the impact that we've done, this is what we're talking about. Over the quarter century of the organization, we've made about a $10 million impact economically across the board. But today I just want to kind of, because I know a lot of times we get a lot of misinformation about what income aligned housing, affordable housing, even workforce housing, and what that really means and what that really looks like. So today I want to give you some key point indicators and some data to actually kind of get you to understand. But initially, the neighborhood started in 1873, and those families are still there. So you just saw Mr. Tyrell Hodge, who's behind me. He's a Williamson County government official and seventh generation native of Tennessee in Franklin there. So the goal is to actually not only keep the existing homes established as far as the seniors who are aging in place. We also want to build the newer homes and give the teachers and retired veterans and our police officers and servant leaders in the community the opportunity to stay where they live. Here in a moment, you'll see just the price ranges that's driving gas, but it is what it is. Our community here in Williamson County is one of the top tier counties of not only just the state, but all of the United States. And everyone wants to move here. So the demand is high and supply is very low. And at the end of the day, we need to increase supply to meet that demand. So with that being said, let me go into it just a little bit. Okay, in the video, we pointed out Mr. Dr. Scott Rowley, Pastor Scott Rowley, who was the senior pastor at Christ Community Church, alongside his brother in Christ, Reverend R.L. Denny Denson. That's my wife's grandfather, and that's how I actually connected to it, the organization. I began over 20 years ago as a volunteer. And I don't know, when you volunteered to do something, you just do it and say, yes, sir, because he was a Green Beret Special Forces sniper and from Vietnam War, and you didn't want any smoke from Mr. Denson. And so I just said, yes, sir. And and by the way, the granddaughter that I married, Marquita, is his favorite granddaughter because she looks just like his mom. So yeah, I just said, yes, sir, and move on. But he had since passed due to pancreatic cancer, stage 4. He came in contact with Agent Orange, serving our country that we're about to celebrate 250 years of. But those guys saw more in common than they did different. And in the Empty Hands Fellowship team that they assembled every week, of those 150 men, their main focus was housing, health, and education. And they made several organizations within Williamson County that actually are still working today in all three of those focus areas. Hard bargain just happened to be the housing arm. So I just like to also, and then thank you, Donna, for pointing out where we are, because most people don't know where we're located. So this is the original map from 1927, done by Rick Warwick. And to your right, that bottom right-hand corner there, that's Judge W.S. McLemore, who was the original owner of Hard Bargain at the time. And once Harvey became a freed man, he actually went to him because Judge W.S. McLemore revered him as a son. The issue is the financial institutions would not loan to him, so Judge had to go and actually bid on his behalf to tell them to give him the loan. Harvey was very smart. There's no picture of Harvey, but that is his great nephew, Spare Dime, and he actually was very smart. So when he got the loan, he basically subdivided the plots up of parcels and brought all the other sharecroppers in, and they paid the loan off early. The caveat to it is that he had to give up 7 years of sweat equity in addition to that. So that's why wasn't able to finish out the loan until 1873. Which he built this house there, which was the first house on the block, and it is now on the National Registry. It's off 11th Avenue, right in front of Johnson Elementary in Franklin. Last living descendant in that home was Miss Laverne Holland. She lives right behind it, actually, and she volunteers with us. She's the great granddaughter to Harvey McLemore, so we love the McLemore family. You'll see that common theme throughout of all of Williamson County. If you drive through Spring Hill, you'll see McLemore Road. You'll hear McLemore a lot. That's what they're referring to, Judge W.S. McLemore and the McLemore family. So again, just wanted to bring out some key point indicators real quick. So if you look, I wanted to point out Brentwood because that's where we're at today. In 2023 of July, the median sales price for a home here was 1.2 million, right at 1.3, right? So that's your median, right? So in order to basically afford that home for a teacher or a police officer or a retired veteran or a public servant, you're talking about at least between 150 to 200,000 really a year annually. Obviously, with a school teacher salary, they just can't afford that. And so, when you're talking about 80% of AMI, you're really talking anywhere between maybe 40 to 80,000 a year, probably max. And mind you, those are gross numbers. So a lot of times we're not including tax because technically speaking, most of those teachers are probably making about 38,000 in reality when they first start until they can get their tenure up. So, but if we continue, this is April 2026, just as last month. Brentwood's right here. And now the sales average price is 2.2 million, but your median now is 1.5 million from the 1.3. So only within the last 3 years, you just had $250,000 of equity in just a short span of 3 years. And that is confirmed by our Williamson County property assessor, Brad Coleman, who just came out and announced at the mayor's breakfast with Franklin tomorrow last year that basically commercial and residential property is going to increase by 45% as far as equity. So all that taken into consideration, when that individual has to go to any financial institution to actually get a letter of determination, whether it be bank, credit union, or what have you, it's very difficult for them to actually qualify for the mortgage loan. Because in reality, if we could just get them across the foothold and the threshold and reduce the barriers for them, it's going to automatically change the trajectory of their life immediately. I mean, the easy way out of poverty is something with cash value that's going to accumulate over time. And what I mean by that, Donovan Johnson, who also was another 6-year-old kid that was in our neighborhood, he just recently bought one of the 4 homes we built last year at $250,000. Okay, but the total home is actually worth about $600,000. So he gets over $250,000 turnkey equity overnight. If you do about 4% over 20 years, Donovan's a millionaire by the time he's 40. Okay. He's a single guy, no family right now, but eventually he will. So we built him a 3-bedroom house, 2 bath. The houses that we build are very high-end, very affluent material homes. They're really detailed. Any home that's just in an affluent neighborhood, we use the same exact products. It's just on a smaller scale. Also, as well as on existing homes, we also go in and actually rehab those homes for our, we call them VIPs. I know a lot of people don't like to hear the S word. The S word is a no-no in my neighborhood, which is seniors. But we like to go in and help them keep their homes up to code. Because a lot of those homes, you got to remember, over 150 years, some of them are from the 20s, 30s, 40s, even as far as 70s and 80s, that are in disrepair. And for the ones that are just beyond dilapidated, then we try to actually partner with those community stakeholders, purchase the property, and actually build them a brand new home. But keep it affordable enough that they can actually afford to stay. The average commute for a low to moderate income family in the 80% AMI track is 40 hours a month. So 1 hour there, an hour back, 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, 40 hours in a month. So if I could afford you the opportunity of giving you 40 hours of your life back, what can you do with that time? This is what I know you said leadership, Brentwood, or some members in here. Quality of life is like one of the key things in life that we can't get back. Time is spent. It's most precious to go. So this is what we're talking about for those teachers and those public servants. They need to be within that community, serving in that community, close to that community. Because a lot of our teachers, when we took the survey in 2021, was literally eating off the dashboard of their car. Not even kidding. Just for dinner at night, can't have a date night with significant other, can't attend their kids' basketball game or soccer game or whatever's going on. So it's really important. Again, just going on some key point indicators. This is all the occupational salaries across all of Tennessee, across all industries. This is coming from Tennessee Workforce Labor Department. We work really closely with Workforce Essentials. And as you can see, a police and a sheriff. And this is this, and by the way, this in-demand occupation of the 2026. So this is this year, right now. The starting salary for a police and sheriff's office is $44,266, and that's gross. That's not with tax. So after Uncle Sam get done with them, it's probably about 38,000. Okay. You can look at heavy machine equipment, 45,000. First line supervisor for admin, for the admin support and business office workers, 51,000, right? On the hiring end for like post-op and even some of our scientists, you'll see 81,000, but again, all gross. So you probably around more or less 70,000 by the time insurance, 401k, all the things come out. So just kind of broad idea of about, that person that's on the left or right of you in the grocery stores who bags your grocery every day. I mean, there's been several times me and my wife for sure have went out to a restaurant and the wait time is almost 2 hours because those families are now pushed out to the rural counties and they just can't get any placement here. And that's not to say for not only just owner occupied, but we also talking about rental. The average rental is $2,500 a month. So when you talk about your grandkids, your kids, my kids is finishing college and they want to individualize themselves, they literally can't. I was just sitting there with our state representatives and state leaders at the nonprofit day on the Hill just recently. There's state leaders that can't afford to buy a home right now. There's state representatives, our people that's writing legislation right now that can't even, they had to move back in with their mom or their dad. Okay, it's bigger than what we think it is. And I will say mutually, we can agree on housing. If we can't agree on anything else, because it's completely affecting everybody around it. And let me make sure I say this, we need all types of housing. So that means luxury, accessibility for disabled, substance abuse housing, transitional housing, affordable income aligned housing. You need even again, VIP housing. Right? For our seniors who don't have long-term care, the average monthly payment for long-term care right now is averaging about $10,000 a month. So if you haven't had your insurance policies set up and the vehicle set up early on in life, then by the time you get to your retirement age, no one can take care of you. And that's a fact, right? So again, just going back into, and this is all the studies, I pulled this data straight from City of Franklin, which by the way, 70% of our employees between all our teachers, city firemen and all that are no longer able to stay in the city that they serve. They're now also being pushed out as well. So just more key point indicators. this is a older report, but it's from John Burns, estate real estate consultant, which is one of the biggest real estate consultants in all the world. But in 2021, it's just showing you how these small incremental that looks like 1% and 2% of material costs is going up. That has now since tripled since 2021. It's 3 times this amount on this map right now. So a 2x4 is about $40. In fact, I was at Home Depot and I saw one against the wall was $37 per board. Okay. So your stick bills are increased on your vertical as well. The dirt is averaging about $462 a square foot. So you're looking at least $200,000 to $300,000 just for the dirt. And then if you want to build a 1,500 square foot of home or smaller, you're looking at right about $400,000. So you're already $600,000 in for a single family house before you even start. And that's not including architectural designs, because I just saw some architects in here and I talked to you all earlier. You're probably looking at another $200,000 to get through BOMA and your zoning. Okay. Real quick, just wanted to highlight another for one of our VIP members. This house was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We customized it for them to keep the lights lowered. So that way, if they had to be in wheelchair access, we could easily put on an on-ramp on the front porch by design, and they can reach the lights. But we also have grab bars and actually sit-down seats in the showers. When we first started this project in 2020, it actually was going to value at about $280,000. By the time we finished, it was $470,000. So, and that was 2022. So 2 years. So 2 years, it doubled in value, pretty much overnight. And so that was Dan and Valerie Steele. They're also 5th-generation natives of Franklin, born and raised between Natchez and Hard Bargain. Fantastic team, fantastic family. Aaron Leverton was our designer there. Jared Metzler was our builder. The Metzler family, you may remember his father. He was famous for the spiral staircases that he would put into the Brentwood homes like Dolly Parton. So those real fabulous spiral staircases you have came from the Metzler Building Group. Jared is going to soon take the organization over when his father retired. So couple key things to think about, just out of box creativity going forward, like how do we solve it? Okay. Well, the way we want to solve it is everybody's going to have to come to the table. Everybody. It's not going to be a single person or a single soul that could got a one or have the one fit solution to all the things. So we started locking arm with collaboration with other nonprofits like Franklin Housing Authority, Habitat, Murray, Williamson Murray, Kim Randall's team, even Shelter Equity at that time. And so we're doing a group project of about 44 units that's coming up pretty soon. It's called Bousquet Place. And at this point, just February, our city passed a resolution to donate about $3.5 million towards this project to help get those firemen, those teachers back home, back close to home, so we can actually serve our community the right way. And so, and I'm saying that just not for us. I'm talking about Robertson County, Murray County, Davidson County. All of us is doing the same thing. I've been fortunate to actually be a part of Tennessee Affordable Housing Coalition for the state of Tennessee, as I served the board there. For Middle, West, and East Tennessee, I've taken trips with Williamson Forward as a board of director there for Williamson Inc. and Matt Largen, taking other sharing best practices, if you will, with other cities. And the goal is right now that not only cities gonna have to get involved, our organization like Rotary is gonna get involved, but even as much as the civil organization, our churches have a lot of land, and they're even thinking about that. You take a portion of that land and actually make some income aligned housing for the families there that's in that community. I mean, we're really looking at all aspects. Old rundown hotels that's run down. Nashville's been doing a great job. I know a guy by the name of Nick Ogden. They're converting those old rundown hotels to condominiums, whether it's for rental or for buying for purchase, but we really gonna have to lock arms and just get together and do private-public partnerships. We're actually attending the third annual housing conference at Belmont University next week. And this is what we're all talking about. Developers, financial institutions, civil organizations, everybody is at arm's length right now trying to figure it out, because at the end of the day, we have to go somewhere. We gotta, I mean, even Samson had to lay his hair down. And when he laid his hair down, he had a home to go to, okay? So, we understand the studies and the data behind it. I mean, when you have a two-parent household for a child and you're in that community, it just enhances the quality of life beyond means. And I can truly say that just looking at my family and my son. But ultimately, and I'm getting ready to stop here. I don't know how many of you all know the actual devastation of the wage gaps and just the opportunities that's in our community. Food deserts, I don't know how many of you all have had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go take food to a family who hadn't eaten in 2 weeks. How many of you all have had to go to a civil court judge and actually help a family from being evicted because he's on the docket because they're 6 months behind? How many of you all have ever had to just go clothes shopping for a single mom because the rent is $2,500 a month? She couldn't afford it to actually not on the rent, but she's trying to get a new job and she don't have any clothes to go to the interview. These are the things that you don't see. Right now to this day, you can go to the Walmart that's on Cool Springs. You can go to the La Quinta Inn right there off Highway I-65, exit 65. And I guarantee you can count at least 10 families that are living in their car right now. And it's not being talked about. Not at all. Not discussed. It's not an easy topic. It's not attractive, but the work needs to be done. When you talk about service before self, when I started this, my hair was black. Okay. But I say that with honor and with the utmost respect and love for my community, because honestly, I'm going to work, live, play, and then die here eventually one day. But right now, what I'm asking you about and I'm telling you about is not the structures and the building that we're focusing on. We're talking about legacy and the history. What legacy are you going to leave behind between that dash? That's what Scott and Danny planted over a quarter century ago. They got beyond their differences to go out and do something that our Creator, as a disciple, take care of the blind, the widow, the poor, the sick, the hungry. That's what we should be doing right now in this country. Amen.
Yeah, thank you. This is a gift from us. It's a small token. Thank you for coming. If you wouldn't mind signing this book, we do read to kids here in the local community, and we'd love to share with them a little bit about Hard Bargain and your time with us today.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's good. There you go. Thank you. Okay. We're going to give you a little bit of your time back. Molly, I saw her. Molly, Edward, Linda, and Derrick. Thank you guys for coming today. Don't forget, are we meeting next week? No. Somebody tell Alan. Is Alan Treadway here? Somebody let him know. Oh, that's right. Susie, thank you so much. Oh, totally forgot. Thank you. I should have looked ahead, because when I said if you make the mistake of showing up on your birthday, we'll sing it to you, I did not even think that my birthday would fall on a Rotary Day. Okay, so 2 weeks from today, May 29th, don't forget David Dill, CEO of LifePoint Hospitals, is speaking. And we also have another special thing that we are going to be sharing. I'm not going to share it because it's a surprise, but we do have a special moment that day as well. So does anybody else have any other announcements? Don't forget tomorrow, there is some service opportunities with One Gen and with GraceWorks if you guys want to get up and serve in the morning. Otherwise, for the good of Rotary.
you.